Listen to great knowledge in minutes.
Welcome. Your thoughtful Saarika AI host, Arjun, guides listeners through books and literature. Joining him is guest Nandita, a sharp book critic who helps unpack ideas with warmth and depth. Today they explore Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay's Kapalkundala, a tragic tale of identity and cultural collision. Visit Sarika I for more insights.
Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're diving into a true classic of Bengali literature, Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay's Kapalkundala. It's a novel that really explores the clash between the wild and the civilized, and the tragic consequences that can arise from that collision. Nandita, for those who might not be familiar, what's your initial take on its enduring power?
Arjun, it's a novel that's just so rich with symbolism and psychological depth. At its heart, Kapalkundala is a profound meditation on identity, freedom, and the unyielding hand of fate. It challenges our perceptions of what it means to be civilized versus being truly free, and it does so with a narrative that is both beautiful and incredibly heartbreaking.
Absolutely. The central character, Kapalkundala herself, is just captivating. Raised by a tantric priest in the isolation of the Sundarbans, she embodies this untamed spirit. How does her upbringing immediately set the stage for the conflicts that follow?
Her upbringing is everything. She's a child of nature, unburdened by societal norms or expectations. Her innocence is both her greatest strength and, ultimately, her fatal flaw. When she's thrust into the structured, often hypocritical world of Saptagram after marrying Navakumar, it's like a wild bird being caged. Her inability to conform, to understand the intricacies of
A
social
bird in a
etiquette,
cage,
is what
that's a
really
perfect
drives the
analogy.
tragedy.
And that wildness isn't just a metaphor, is it? It's deeply ingrained in her actions and her very being. She doesn't understand jealousy or manipulation or even the concept of private property in the way society does.
Exactly. Her moral compass is entirely different. She operates on an intuitive, almost primal level. When she sees a flower, she plucks it. When she feels affection, she expresses it without reservation. This pure, unadulterated nature is seen as both exotic and dangerous by the society she enters.
It really highlights that nature versus nurture debate, doesn't it? Is her wildness something that can be civilized out of her? Or is it an intrinsic part of who she is, destined to clash with any attempt to tame it?
Bankim Chandra masterfully explores that very question. He suggests that some elements of our core identity, especially those forged in such a unique environment, are simply immutable. Kapalkundala's longing for the forest, her discomfort with domesticity, it's not a choice, it's a fundamental part of her being that society
Powerful
simply cannot
statement.
accommodate.
Let's talk about Navakumar for a moment. He's the catalyst for her entry into this new world. What are his motivations? And how does his character contribute to the unfolding tragedy?
Navkumar is a complex figure. He is initially drawn to Kapalkundala's exotic beauty and innocence, saving her from a ritual sacrifice. There's genuine affection here, but also perhaps a touch of savior complex, or even a desire to possess something so unique. He brings her into his world with good intentions, but he fundamentally fails to understand her. He expects her to transform, to become a conventional wife, without truly appreciating the depth of her wild spirit.
So it's not malice but a fundamental misunderstanding, a failure of empathy on his part?
Precisely. And that's where the tragedy really deepens. It's not just external forces, but this internal disconnect within their marriage that becomes so poignant. His love, however genuine, is conditional on her changing, which she
Heartbreaking,
simply
really.
cannot do.
And then we have the external forces, primarily Padmavati, Navakumar's former lover. She's a master manipulator, isn't she? How does her jealousy and machinations accelerate the downfall?
Padmavati is the embodiment of societal artifice and vengeful passion. She is the antithesis of Kapalkundala's purity. Her schemes are calculated, designed to exploit every misunderstanding and insecurity. She represents the darker side of civilized society, its capacity for jealousy, gossip, and destructive manipulation. Her presence ensures that Kapalkundala's attempts at assimilation are not just difficult but actively sabotaged.
It's almost as if she's the human manifestation of these societal pressures that Kapalkundala can't navigate.
A very astute observation, Arjun. She personifies the judgmental, restrictive aspects. And then there's the tantric priest, who represents the pull of Kapalkundala's past, a
The
constant
shadow from
reminder
her
of her
past.
origins.
Yes, the priest. He's a truly sinister figure, isn't he? His vengeful pursuit of Kapalkundala, urging her back to her untamed roots, adds another layer of external pressure. Is he simply a villain? Or does he also represent something deeper about her destiny?
He's certainly a villain in the conventional sense, a force of malevolence, but he also serves as a potent symbol of fate, or perhaps the inescapable nature of one's origins. He embodies the untamed, dangerous aspect of the wilderness that Kapalkundala came from, constantly trying to reclaim her. He's a dark echo of her past, reminding her that she can never truly escape where she came from.
So, she's caught between the restrictive society of Saptagram, the manipulative jealousy of Padmavati, and the vengeful pull of her past represented by the priest. It's a truly impossible situation for her.
Absolutely. It's a confluence of internal and external pressures that creates a suffocating trap. Bankim Chandra doesn't offer an easy way out, which is why the novel resonates so deeply as a tragic tale. Her inherent wildness is pitted against a world that
No
has
space
no
at all.
space for it.
And the language, Nandita, the prose itself. Bankim Chandra's writing style is often described as poetic and evocative. How does his literary approach enhance these themes of identity and cultural collision?
His language is just exquisite. He uses vivid imagery to contrast the lush, untamed beauty of the Sundarbans with the often stifling, ornate descriptions of Saptagram. The descriptions aren't just decorative, they serve to deepen the thematic divide. When he describes Kapalkundala, he often uses metaphors of nature, a deer, a wild creeper,
That contrast
reinforcing her
is so
connection to the
powerful.
wilderness.
It's almost as if the landscape itself is a character in a story, isn't it? Reflecting Kapalkundala's inner state.
Precisely. The Sundarbans represent freedom, instinct, and a certain primal innocence, while Saptagram symbolizes constraint, artifice, and societal judgment. The settings are not just backdrops, they are active participants in a narrative, shaping the characters' destinies.
Given its themes, what do you think makes Kapalkundala still so relevant today, centuries after it was written?
Well, the fundamental questions it raises about what it means to be authentic in a world that often demands conformity are timeless. We still grapple with the tension between our individual desires and societal expectations. The struggle of an outsider trying to fit in, the pain of misunderstanding, and the destructive power of jealousy. These are universal
Absolutely
human
universal.
experiences.
And the idea of fate versus free will is also very prominent. Does Kapalkundala ever truly have a choice in a tragic outcome? Or is she simply a pawn of circumstances?
That's a fantastic question, Arjun. Bankim Chandra deliberately leaves that somewhat ambiguous, I think. While external forces certainly push her towards her fate, her own inherent nature, her inability to compromise her wildness, also plays a crucial role. It's a tragic interplay of internal disposition and external pressures, making it feel almost inevitable.
So, her freedom in the wilderness ultimately becomes her undoing in society. A profound irony.
Indeed, her freedom, which was her lifeblood, becomes a cage in the conventional world. It's a stark reminder that what makes us unique can also be the very thing that isolates us. The novel forces us to consider if true happiness can ever be found when one's core self is in constant conflict with its surroundings.
It's a powerful point, Nandita. So, her freedom becomes a cage because society simply isn't equipped to handle that level of unbridled authenticity. Or perhaps it actively seeks to suppress it?
Precisely, society, represented by Saptagram, demands conformity, a certain domestication of the spirit. Kapalkundala, having known only the wild, cannot comprehend these subtle, often unspoken rules. Her actions, so natural to her, are seen as transgressions.
And this struggle is of course exacerbated by the interference of other characters. Padmavati, Navakumar's former lover, and the vengeful tantric priest. How do their roles amplify Kapalkundala's internal and external conflicts?
They act as external manifestations of her internal turmoil. Padmavati represents the social other woman trope, but her jealousy and manipulation expertly exploit the cracks already forming in Kapalkundala's new life. She is a catalyst for the societal judgment
true
Kapalkundala
antagonist.
faces.
And the tantric priest? He is almost a representation of her past, isn't he? A constant pull back to the wilderness she left behind.
Absolutely. He's not just a character, he's a symbol. He embodies the untamed, the spiritual, the primitive world that Kapalkundala was ripped from. His vengeful pursuit isn't just personal, it's the call of our inherent nature, the wild, demanding its return.
So she's caught between the rigid expectations of society, the manipulative schemes of a jealous rival, and the insistent call of her wild past. It's a no-win situation, almost.
It truly is. Each force pulls her in a different direction, fragmenting her sense of self. Her identity becomes a battleground, and she, tragically, is a prize.
What about Navakumar, her husband? Is he a victim of circumstances, or does he contribute to her tragic fate?
Navkumar is a complex figure. He's initially drawn to her wildness, to her otherness, but he ultimately fails to understand or protect it. He represents the society she's trying to enter. His love, while perhaps genuine, is insufficient to bridge the chasm between their worlds.
He wants to civilize her rather than accept her as she is.
Exactly. He sees her as something to be molded, not cherished in her original form. This fundamental misunderstanding contributes significantly to her isolation and, ultimately,
That's so
her
sad.
tragic end.
The novel is often described as a tragic tale of identity, cultural collision, and fate. How does Bankim Chandra weave these themes together to create such a powerful narrative?
He does so masterfully, Arjun. The cultural collision is central. The wild, free spirit versus the rigid, conventional wood. Identity is explored through Kapalkundala's struggle to reconcile her innate self with the persona society demands. And fate, that's the overarching shadow.
The sense of inevitability that we discussed earlier.
Precisely, Bankim Chandra creates a narrative where, despite moments of hope, the forces at play seem too powerful for Kapalkundala to overcome. It feels almost preordained, a consequence of who she is and where she finds herself.
The setting, the Sundarbans, plays such a crucial role too, doesn't it? It's not just a backdrop.
Oh, it's critical. The Sundarbans symbolizes Kapalkundala's untamed essence, her wildness, her freedom. It's a place of raw nature, danger and uninhibited life. When she's taken from it, it's like
A
a
living
part of her
character.
is severed.
And Saptagram then is the stark opposite.
Absolutely. Saptagram is the embodiment of civilization, with its rules, its gossip, its expectations. The contrast between these two settings mirrors Kapalkundala's internal conflict, making her alienation palpable to the reader.
It's a powerful visual and emotional metaphor for her journey.
Indeed, the novel uses the environment to reflect the soul, a technique that is both beautiful and heartbreaking in its execution. It deepens the tragedy considerably.
So, ultimately, it's a story of an individual who cannot or will not compromise her fundamental nature for the sake of societal acceptance.
That's a perfect summation, Arjun. It's a testament to the idea that some spirits are simply too wild to be caged, and the consequences of trying to do so can be devastating.
A truly profound and tragic narrative. It leaves you with so much to ponder about identity, freedom, and the cost of societal norms.
It does, doesn't it? It's a classic for a reason, challenging readers to look beyond the surface and consider the deeper implications of human interaction and cultural clash.
Nandita, this has been an incredibly insightful discussion. Thank you for shedding such light on Kapalkundala.
My pleasure, Arjun. It's a novel that continues to spark conversation and reflection.
And for our listeners who are keen to explore such rich literary works, but perhaps don't have the time for a full read, what's a good way to get started?
Well, for those wanting to grasp these intricate narratives quickly, resources like Saarika AI Bay, Books in 10 Minutes can be invaluable. You can find more at saarika.ai